if you can see it in your mind, you can have it in your life. So the question you should ask yourself is, what do you really want? You know, I mean, for so many of us, we do know what we want. You know, we have our wishes and our wants. But then the thing is, like, the challenge with that is, you know, we we tell our friends and our family all the things that we want, all the things that we wish for, and then, you know, when we kind of sound like we are very serious in wanting those things, a lot of times, like, all those wishes and wants go out the window just like that, just because they really, like, you know, I mean, the people that surround us, that they really don't believe that we can actually accomplish something, you know, that we can actually achieve them. So, and the other thing too is, like, you know, I mean, we tend to ask the people around us how to do something that they themselves have never done before. So, you know, how can you expect to succeed at something if you're, you know, if you're trying to get opinions or get suggestions or recommendations from people who've never done something that you want to do, right? So for you to, you know, if you really want to be great at something, first thing you should do is actually look for, you know, find someone who's doing what you want to get doing, and then model after them. Find out what they do, find out how they're doing it, and, you know, I mean, if they're maybe a public figure or something, you can maybe follow them and, you know, just model after what they do. And so another thing is, like, if you think that you have a big goal, don't, you know, I mean, thinking that something is big is all about your perception, right? So you can either think that a goal is too big and you're just too small to even accomplish it. But then, if that's the way you're thinking, you're already setting yourself up for, I don't want to say failure, but yeah, you're kind of setting yourself up for, you know, for not winning, to put it lightly, right? Because the thing is, like, if you see yourself bigger than any goal, that means you will, you know, there will come a time that you will, you know, eventually accomplish that goal. You will, you know, you will crush it, right? Just because you think you're really this big person that, you know, that nothing can stop you, right? So at this point, I want to ask you, you know, do you know anyone who's afraid of, you know, going after a goal just because they're not getting any approval or any agreement from people in their life? So let me give you an example, because I know that was me. So when I was probably, you know, when I was a teenager, when I was in high school, I remember, because I was always, I am very you know, adventurous. Like, I always wanted to do something different. I always wanted to try something new, and ever since I was in high school, I remember there's a lot of things that, you know, that I wanted to try, but then at the same time, my husband, who was my boyfriend then, he would always discourage me. You know, I mean, he would always just because, you know, I mean, he's, anything that's out of the ordinary for him would be, you know, stepping out of his comfort zone. And I didn't know this then, but yeah, so it was just him. So, you know, every time I wanted to do something different, every time I wanted to try something new, he would always kind of like discourage me from trying it, just because, you know, he would say, like, many different reasons for, you know, to discourage, many different things to discourage me. So at the time, I would just let it go, right? I would just drop it. So say, for example, if there's something I wanted to try, maybe I didn't really have any passion for it or anything like that. So, you know, if he said that, you know, he doesn't think it's a good idea, I would just drop it, you know, and not another word said, right? But then, you know, so ever since I was 16 up until you know, my entire life, I'd always be like that. I would just, you know, I mean, first I would have a thought, I would have an idea, and then I would always, you know, ask friends, ask my then boyfriend, well, who's my husband now, you know, I would always ask them, oh, what they thought of it, right? And then, so right around the time that up until I had my first baby, it was then that I really stood up and, you know, I really stood my ground and really stuck to it. I became very stubborn, And what added to my stubbornness is that, because I really I really built myself up, like, with all the personal development stuff that I had been learning, I had made myself so strong that I became so unshakable. So if there was something I wanted to get done, if there was a goal that I wanted to set for myself, I never really asked for anyone's opinion. So there was no one that could stop me, or there was no one that could change my mind from setting that goal. So I didn't want anyone, I don't need anybody's opinion on my goals, right? Because at the end of the day, it's my life, right? So who's gonna set my goals for me but me, right? And who's gonna accomplish those goals for me? No one else but me. So it's all on me. So so for me to, and even for you, like, when you think of it, if you have a goal, if you want something in your life, why would you ask anyone, why would you ask for people's opinions on what you want to do with your life? It's your life, yeah, right? At the end of the day, who's gonna enjoy a good life after you've done all the hard work, right? And also, and the opposite end of that is, who's gonna suffer, who's gonna be miserable having that kind of life? No one else but you. So it's all on you, it's all on us, right? So and another thing that I wanted to cover is, as you set your goals. So I'm gonna go back to that personal development thing. So you want to make yourself so strong that you become unstoppable, you become unshakable as well. So because at the end of the day, when you've accomplished the goal that you've set for yourself, you will thank yourself to no end for sticking to it and going through all the obstacles and challenges, just because you did it, you made it happen, right? And the people around you will even thank you for it too, especially your family, right? If you have if you have kids, if you have a spouse, for now, maybe they're not seeing, as you work towards your goal, maybe they're not seeing the end result yet the way that you see it in your mind. But then the day and the time will come that they will, you will get the result that you're looking for, that you will accomplish that goal, and all of you will be celebrating together, right? Because it's always like that. On the way to where you want to get at, it's like you're always gonna have these conversations around you, and some are not very supportive, and some are not very loving. But at the same time, if you stuck through it, you will get there for sure, just as long as you don't stop. And if you feel like your morale is down just because you're not getting a lot of love and support, you can always go to online communities and join groups. Like I think I did a video about this from some time ago. But yeah, you can join Facebook groups, you can join online communities that that have the same vision as you, people that have share the same beliefs, share the common interest, right? Because there are people who are satisfied with living a mediocre life, and you don't want that. You want to step above that and live the kind of life you really and truly deserve, and that. So I will see you back here tomorrow, and have yourself an awesome day. Thanks for watching. Bye.